The first thing we will take a look at is encumbrance itself. According to the dropdown in our inventory, which we get if we hover over the encumbrance icon, we can carry up to 150 weight without penalty. Carrying more weight will give an encumbrance penalty. We can also see, at the bottom of the dropdown, our current weight, which will be 0 if we have nothing on us besides our uniform. So, as a first test, we arrange an eclectic mix of items in our backpack to have a weight of 0, a weight of 75, a weight just below threshold of 149, a weight on threshold of 150, and a weight just over threshold of 151. For all these weights we have an encumbrance of 0%. But of note is the fact that at 150 and 151 weight, the percentage turns orange instead of white, and that in our dropdown we receive 2 warnings. Stamina regeneration is reduced, stamina drain is increased while sprinting. Now, if we sprint the same, considerable, distance with these 5 different weights and compare them to each other, we see no difference between the weights. Not in speed, nor in stamina drain, nor in stamina regeneration. If we load more weight into our inventory, we see that on the line that states our weight, we now can also see the threshold for over-encumbrance, 550 weight. So, when we repeat the same run, but this time with a weight of 149 for 0% encumbrance, a weight of 154 for an encumbrance of 1%, a weight of 350 for an encumbrance of 50%, a weight of 549 for an encumbrance of 99%, and one of 550 for 100% encumbrance, or over-encumbrance, we get a clearer picture. With an encumbrance difference of 49% between them, we see a noticeable difference in stamina drain, total time necessary to run the distance, and also a very noticeable increase in stamina recovery time once we reach the end of the run. The over-encumbrance with a weight of 550 causes us to collapse and leaves us vulnerable and in need of recovery while halfway through the run. Repeating the same run with 3 new and different loadouts with a weight of 251 for 25% encumbrance, 450 weight for 75% encumbrance, and a fully overloaded weight of 2950 for an encumbrance of 100% again, we see the same pattern. The more weight we are carrying above encumbrance threshold, the faster our stamina depletes, the longer we take to run the distance, and the longer it takes to recover our stamina. What is more important to note here, however, is the fact that there is no difference between both loadouts that are at 100% encumbrance. They drain the same amount of stamina, collapse at the same point, and take the same amount of time to recover stamina. As stated in the dev stream, your speed over a short distance will not be impacted by your weight and encumbrance, with the added caveat that being over-encumbered will significantly slow you down. To show this, we have a simple single trench here, and 3 different loadouts. One at 62 weight and 0% encumbrance, one at 350 weight and 50% encumbrance, and the final loadout with 549 weight and 99% encumbrance. Sprinting the length of a trench, we see we need the same time to cross the entire length. The time to recover our stamina is quite different though. Repeating the same test, but on a length of 2 trenches, we start to see a little deviation between the times for the different encumbrance values. Repeating it once again on a length of 5 trenches, we see an even starker difference. Now, this might give the impression that your speed is different with different encumbrance values, but this is not the case. It is actually the stamina drain that causes this difference. To show this, we use the stretch of 5 trenches, but this time enter the trench with 0 weight and 0 encumbrance, but with different stamina levels. Running like this, we see that the speed at which we are running is tied to how much stamina we have left. The less stamina we have, the slower we go. So, because we drain our stamina faster with a higher encumbrance, we arrive quicker at lower speeds. The final factor that plays a role in our movement is the weapon we have equipped. When we pick a loadout with an Argenti with a full clip in it, a Lion Claw with a full magazine in it, an Omen with a full clip in it, and a Dawn with a full magazine in it, and run the same distance, we see there is no difference in stamina drain. However, there is a difference in speed that is obvious for the Dawn compared to the other 3 guns. We can once again show this more clearly by filling each loadout up to a weight of 549 to an encumbrance of 99%. And then we see that all runs are slower due to a higher stamina drain, but the difference between the Dawn and the other weapons is practically the same. An even better way of showing this is using the same loadout, a Greyhound AT rifle with 1 magazine in it 3 times. Once in our equipment and in our hands, once in our equipment but not in our hands, and once in our backpack. Running the same distance this way, we see that both instances where we do not have the Greyhound equipped, we arrive at the same time. When we have the Greyhound equipped in our hands though, we see that we arrive quite a bit later. Gas clouds produced by green ash grenades will now drain your stamina first before injuring you. Besides changes to the gas grenades, there are also changes to the gas mask itself. It slows down the recovery of stamina. To show this, we sprint the same distance with the same weight, 350, and encumbrance, 50%, one time without a gas mask, one time with a gas mask, and compare the two. We arrive at the same spot in the same time, showing that it does not affect speed. But note that our run with the gas mask equipped takes a significantly longer time to regain our stamina than the one without gas mask. This effect is even more pronounced when we repeat it with a weight of 549 and an encumbrance of 99%. And, as expected, it will be the most pronounced when we run with a loadout that puts us over the over-encumbrance threshold. Our speed is the same, the place where we collapse is the same, but by the time we fully recovered our stamina with our gas mask on, we have already almost arrived at our endpoint in the run without a gas mask. Another factor influencing our stamina, and indirectly also our speed, is the surface we're running on. If we have a loadout with a weight of 350 and therefore an encumbrance of 50%, running the same distance on-road and off-road, we see that running off-road takes us way longer to sprint the same distance. Paying close attention to our stamina bar, we can see why that is. Off-road, our stamina drains way faster. And since our sprint speed is tied to the amount of stamina we have left, we are way slower off-road. To clearly demonstrate this, we can repeat the same run, but this time with a weight of 549 and an encumbrance of 99%, where the distance we ran off-road almost made us drain all our stamina. And we arrived markedly later than we did when running on the road. Besides determining the speed at which you run, stamina also has an influence on how quickly you shoulder your weapon. With a loadout of a Dawn with a full magazine, we run towards the same spot and aim our weapon 3 times. One time we run, so as to not drain stamina, and twice we sprint with differing stamina levels to the same spot and aim our weapon. In the footage that is slowed down to 20% of the original speed, we see that there is a relatively big difference between when we can use our Dawn, where the instance with the lowest amount of stamina takes the longest time for us to be able to shoot our Dawn. In conclusion, the time it takes to sprint a certain distance is the same for each weight under 150, but might vary with the weapon you have equipped. The stamina drain while sprinting is the same for each weight under 150, but might vary with the surface you're running on. The stamina recovery is the same for each weight under 150, but is increased while having a gas mask equipped. When crossing the encumbrance threshold of 150 weight, the time to sprint a certain distance is increased the more weight you're carrying. Your equipped weapon will influence this as well. The stamina drain while over the encumbrance threshold is increased the more weight you're carrying. The surface you're sprinting on will influence this as well. The stamina recovery while over the encumbrance threshold is slower the more weight you're carrying. It is even more increased when wearing a gas mask. Crossing the threshold for over-encumbrance at 550 weight will make your sprinting way slower, your stamina drain will be significantly increased, and your stamina recovery is also extremely slow. The speed you are sprinting at is tied to the amount of stamina you have left and the weapon you have equipped, where having a weapon equipped means having a weapon in your hands visibly.